Hey, everybody. We have with us tonight a returning guest. We had her on before talking about a couple of her books, one, Crowns and Cabals, and we also have another one, bestseller. Dina Rae is the author. Fantastic books. Like I said, this one, Austin, me read cover to cover. Fantastic. We're talking to her tonight about, she had it previously titled Halo of the Damned, but she retitled it. It's now Peacocks, Pedestals, and Prayers. And that's, I believe, getting ready to be available for everybody as well. And we'll talk to her about that. But Dina Rae, welcome back to the show. She is next.
Welcome to the Three Beards podcast. My name is Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is right. I need you. Then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right, man, look at that. Boom, we're all on the screen. That's cool. Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. Austin, Chris, it's been a busy week. But how was your guys' week?
Too busy.
Too busy. Hopefully the storm, holds off. But,
please.
It's gonna mess up Austin's scallop trip. But hey, right. Enough about our Florida, first world problems. Let's bring on the guest, Dina Rae. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Thanks, you guys, for having me back.
Oh, absolutely. And Jim, hey, Jim's watching. Jim Elliott, thank you for watching, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, so first off, since we had you on last time, we talked about, but said we also read Crowns and Cabals, and we absolutely love it, and we highly, highly beg for you to consider a sequel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So I know you don't have any, at least when we talked to you, didn't have any plans, but for a sequel, but we'd love to see a sequel for that one.
Thank you.
And then this one, and then the other one we had bestseller. This is also a fantastic book. I don't have Halo of the Damned, or obviously the new cover that's coming out. But
I have the
Peacocks, Pedestals, and Prayers. That's the new one. So let's kind of start out a little bit with that one. Where I'm trying to look at the brain part right there. What are we supposed to? the way I'm trying to phrase this here is, for you, it's like, what happened towards the book? Why you went through the name change? I know it's a different publisher, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Yes, my Halo of the Damned was the second book I ever wrote, and I'm very proud of it. It received a ton of great reviews. It was selling well. Everything was doing real well. And then my publisher, which was Eternal Damnation was the name of them, they went out of business. So
okay.
The book went unpublished for a while. Then I gradually put it back up on Amazon. And then my current publisher, Solstice, said, hey, let's give it... what's the word? Let's make it more modern. Let's update it, and we'll give it a new title. We can modernize it. So sure, absolutely. So Solstice Publishing did get it up on all of the sites, and it is currently published right now. It got published last night. So
there you go.
Well,
it is it of course is fantasy, but I like with all of my books, I put in a tremendous amount of research with this book. And I remember when I originally wrote it, how fun it was to write, because it was about Nephilim and fallen angels and modern day angel cults and all of that. And when we think of angels, we think of God's soldiers. We think of Michael and Raphael, and if we say to somebody, "You're an angel," we think that they're a good person, but that is not exactly true. We know from Scripture that there was a war in heaven, and God's favorite angel, which we now call Satan, got too big for his britches, so to speak, and he was cast out of heaven along with 200 other angels. So again, some people think 200 is 200. Some people think 200 represents like a legion or something, so it's millions. We're really not sure on the actual number, but it says 200 in the Bible. So if you think about it, our evil forces that we've got going on were once angels. So even though they lost, they're in a very unique position, because they know they once were allies with God. So they know his ways better than we do, for sure.
Yeah, and that was, I think Chris actually had something he found about that angel. Chris, do you?
yeah, I was scouring through the Bible, and my knowledge that I have of the Bible, it nowhere in the Bible does it say anything about falling angels, but they absolutely exist of just coming out. The bad angels are the soldiers for Satan. Am I correct? But it doesn't say anything about fallen angels in the Bible.
Well, yes and no. You're partially right. And there is another book, the book of Enoch, which is where we get a lot of our information, and another book called Jubilees, which we get even more of our information. And there's other writings, Dead Sea Scrolls, other books. Now, Western Christendom does not add Enoch in their Bible because they were afraid that, well, they don't say exactly why, but scholars believe that they were afraid that people would get distracted with the message, and they would go off and they would start using angels as idols. So they didn't include it, but they do include it in parts of Africa, especially Ethiopia. It is in their Christian Bible. So it depends what Bible you're reading.
Thanks for clarifying that. I mean, I was here listening about the book of Enoch. I've got to find that book. It seems very interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Enoch, I guess, would be the one that talked the most about these angels. And this is where it gets kind of hazy. He talks about this group of angels called the Watchers, or they're also known as the Grigori. It means the same thing. And in the book of Enoch, this group of angels were supposedly sent down by God on Mount Hermon, which is on the border of Syria and Lebanon. And they were sent there to watch mankind. And they screwed up. They fell in love with human women, had sex, had offspring called what we call Nephilim or Nephilim. There's different pronunciations. And then God didn't want anything to do with them. He was mad. But this is where it gets confusing. Are they the same angels that were expelled after the war in heaven and they were cast out? Was this something God said, you lost the war, now you got to go watch mankind? We're not really sure. Again, with this book of Enoch and other writings, some of the angels' names are the same. So you can infer that they're the same group, but no one really seems to know. So anyway, they had this offspring called Nephilim, and Nephilim had distinct characteristics, which, going back to the regular Bible that we're all familiar with here in America, Goliath, for example, was considered a Nephilim. That was the famous giant Philistine that David fought with a slingshot. And one of their characteristics was that they were very tall. Another one of their characteristics could be that they had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each hand. Another characteristic that they were said to have, because they were not 100% human, was they were half-breeds. In other words, they had about 50% angel blood in them and 50%, of course, human blood. Now, what's interesting, and I personally find this very interesting to me, because I'm one of the 10% people in the world who have Rh negative blood. And I don't know if you guys know anything about that.
A little bit, but yeah, I mean, if you want to go into that a little bit, because that would help anybody that's not familiar, because I know most people have heard of it. They've heard of the Basque people from the region of Spain, where that was prevalent, and that's, so I know there's a few people that know that part, but yeah, go ahead. You explain that, please.
Okay, well, my ancestors are not from the Basque of Spain. And in fact, you're right, that there seems to be a link, but different races have this Rh negative factor. They're not real sure how people get it, because it also puts a humongous hole into the theory of evolution. Because, right, we're all evolved from monkeys, right? Mm-hmm. Rh factor stands for rhesus monkey. Well, if you don't have that Rh factor, that kind of blows the whole entire theory that that's where we evolved from. Rh negative, where the heck did that come from? And I know I have Rh negative because when you're pregnant, they specifically test for that. Because if you have Rh negative blood, your blood wants to naturally kill your baby, because they have positive blood. So women are specifically tested for that. And if you have it, thank God they came up with some kind of antibody shot to give you, and everything's cool. Your baby will come out fine. Everything's fine. Modern day medicine has figured out a way to get around that. So anyway, some people say, again, I'm just, laying out some of these beliefs, that this Rh negative is a cast off from in the days of the Nephilim.
Yeah, I've heard that, because I'm A negative myself, my blood type. So like I said, I'm one of the Rh negative. And so it was kind of one of those too, on that same thing, because I know there's the out of Africa theory that most, everything spread from Africa and spread out of there. Well, one of the problems with that theory too is the fact that there isn't an Rh negative blood type out of Africa. And so this out of Africa theory has that problem, because then it doesn't account for the Basque people who are negative. So you a positive can't produce this negative. And that's so you can't have all this positive blood type and then all of a sudden throw a negative blood type. And so that's one of the problems with that theory, that everything came from Africa and spread out, because something's doesn't account for these different blood, questions. And that's where usually at that point, the Nephilim fallen angel aspect, like I said, comes in, that there's something that introduced this in different areas. And that's where we have these pockets that are, like you said, just ones that you can't account for.
Yeah, it's one of the many mysteries that we've got going. And what interested me very about the Bible the most is the first book, Genesis, and the last book, Revelation. The first and the last, to me, are the most cryptic. And we're talking about Enoch. Well, Enoch's great grandson was Noah. So we start off in Genesis with Noah, and he's told, we're talking about bloodlines again, he's told that you and your family are the only ones who have a pure heart. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're a good people? Or is he talking again about a bloodline? And why would Noah and his family be the only ones on earth that have a pure bloodline per se? And again, it's back to this: did the Nephilim get out of hand? Did things get out of hand? Were there way too many angels mating with women, and we're now creating an entirely different race of Nephilim? A non-human race, and God is like, we can't have this. This is not my plan. Hence the great flood, because he was obviously trying to get rid of everything except for Noah and his family when we have this flood.
So with that with that said, what does the different blood types have to do with the different angels?
Well, they mated with humans, so you're not dealing with a human anymore. You're dealing with a half angel, half human, which was not the plan. And again, they were said to be giants. So like the dinosaurs, they might have been using too many resources as well and had to be extinct. Some of these Nephilim are reported to be over 9 feet tall.
Yeah, there's some really crazy ones. I mean, there's some that's even claim of up to like 36 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, and because it's one of those theories too. And Dina, I'm not sure if you know. Have you ever seen that picture from? I want to say it's South America. I'm just the areas, but it looks like it. There's this giant cutout. You see these giant. It's like a stair step, but you see people like for you and me standing there. We're not even like halfway up these blocks. And so they're like, what's the point of these things? Well, then, but if you had somebody that was, this purported like 36 foot tall, human, like person, you'd be walking up those things, no problem. Whereas like you and me, we're going to need a ladder to go up each block. And it's there's different things like there, like the carvings that they show in Egypt of them holding the block. Well, it shows them also holding up the obelisks and stuff. So there's talk that they're not depicting somebody like me holding up a pin. They're actually depicting a very tall individual propping up, that was actually picking up that obelisk and stacking it. And that's where, where you'd have, you and me, we couldn't move a 2-ton block where, well, somebody that's 3 times the size of us, it's going to be a lot easier for them to pick these blocks up.
Wow.
And that's so, yeah, no, this one, I mean, kind of before we get too far away, it's just even like the beginning of your book too. I mean, it starts out right away. I mean, you've got, I mean, like I said, I don't want to spoil it. Everybody's got to read it. I mean, but basically you have somebody that ends up getting murdered and chopped up right there in the first couple of pages.
She got right to it, didn't she?
Yes.
I got right to it.
Yep. Now I'm saying Andel. Am I saying that correct? Or Andel?
Yes, Andel. That's
Andel.
yes, that is my main character. Is one of these fallen angels, and they're a lot of people when we talk. I don't want to get too off the subject because the book is definitely about angels, but it's also about vampirism, and a lot of people don't realize that the Bible has links to vampirism. And where am I getting that? I know that maybe that sounds crazy, but I'm sure you all know the story of Cain and Abel. Cain was the eldest, and he was more of the farmer, and Abel was he was in charge of the livestock. And they both gave their best offerings to God, and God made a big deal about Adam's and kind of poo-pooed Cain's. So Cain murdered Abel in the field. God saw the whole thing and said, "Where is he?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm not my brother's keeper." And I'm sure you all remember this story. Well, there's more to it in not the Bible, but in the Jewish Torah. So we're talking again about Cain. Well, where did he go? He was banished from his family. Well, where did he go? Well, in other writings, he was supposed to live a long, long time, if not forever, and walk the earth aimlessly forever. That was kind of his punishment. He was our first murderer that we know of. Well, he eventually finds this woman, Lilith, and if you guys, you probably have heard of her, probably know who she was, but that was Adam's first wife. Again, where are we getting it? Of course, it's not in Genesis, but it's in these Jewish writings. And he meets Lilith, and they have this wild affair, and they either met at the Red Sea or they met at the land of Nod. There's two different versions. And they're performing some strange ceremony, and she cuts herself open and bleeds out into a bowl, and he drinks the bowl of blood. So again, here we've got this, he's not only the first murderer, he's the first vampire. And he's with her for a while, and then he finally does settle down, and he changes a couple that he really likes, this happy married couple, and they're so happy all the time, and he wants them to live forever, and he changes them with some kind of blood ceremony, not quite sure. But we've got this ancient story of Cain, not only the first murderer, but he is our first vampire. And we all think that vampires were invented by Bram Stoker. Actually not. They were invented, thousands of years ago in these Jewish writings.
Well, and no, it's you're right, because it's one of those we've had a couple of different shows, and it's one, like we've talked about Lilith a little bit, but it's one of those mysteries that a lot of people they seem to gloss over, especially it's one of those things. When I was young, there's things that always stuck out to me. I mean, I was a disaster in Bible college. Let's just, because I asked too many questions that I shouldn't be asking, and it's one of those where, okay, so Cain just left, and then all of a sudden these other people just came out of nowhere. This other civilization. I thought everything came from Adam and Eve, and then as soon as you ask the professors that, they're like, and I just you've got him, because you're like, okay, so what did Cain just went and just started, spontaneously, breaking in half and spawning, amorphic reproduction. He's doing it all on his own. It's like no. It's, and so and there's also the verses where they're even in the Bible, depending on the version, some have kind of scrubbed it, for lack of better terms, but they talk about other creatures, satyrs. They talk about this thing in the scriptures. And anybody knows what a satyr is, half human, half goat. It's in these things, and they're here. So it's really not that crazy when people start talking about the Nephilim. You have to. It's all or nothing here. You can't take one thing and say, well, you must listen to this is the word of God. You must follow this word for word. But then when you bring that up to them, oh no, that's the Old Testament. We're gonna throw that away. It's like it's all.
Question: do you think that God was referring to one of the fallen angels when they were occurring half human, half goat? Because that is one of the signs of one of the fallen angels. Am I correct?
Are you talking about Baphomet, the goat that
Baphomet
people worship? I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I was thinking that because they referred half human, half goat. That could have been the fallen angel that he might have been referring to.
There's definitely a lot of crossover with Greek mythology and the Bible.
I'm watching one of the comments that Chastity's talking about there. Did Noah put two roaches on the ark? So how do we keep roaches? And I'm like, that's the thing. It's like there's no way that he took roaches.
Two roaches.
Does anybody really have to collect a roach? They just kind of show up. You don't have, they just kind of welcome themselves.
They're never late for the party.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry to get sidetracked there. Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, I think you really, that was the part about the book that was pretty cool. It's because it's always been that mystery, the fallen angel, you can get into whatever weird thing. It's like, how does the logistics work of, even giving birth to the Nephilim? How does a human female even give birth to this? Because, if we're talking a 9-10 foot tall, we're talking a natural birth of a child that's going to come out almost like a toddler. We're not talking like a normal 6 pound, 6 to 8 pound baby. We're talking this thing's coming out, probably somewhere on the order of 20, 30 pounds. It is just this, and that's, and you start having these things and you're like, okay, so how does this logistics work?
Can you imagine feeding one of them things that come out that big?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm thinking like the dinosaurs. We'd go through way too many resources if we had people that enormous on the earth.
Well, doesn't that come to the stories too? And so I'm not trying to spoil too much of the book. Doesn't that in a way come, and anybody that reads the book here, will know what I'm talking about right here. Doesn't that kind of lend the story that the giants were also cannibals and they actually ate, humans as a portion of, that was part of their food source. And like I said, you will know more about that when you purchase Peacocks, Pedestals, and Prayers by Dina Rae. You'll know what we're talking about.
No, that's an excellent point. And thank you for the plug. Much appreciated. There is a lot of cannibalism going on with this group. I'm not really sure what to call them. They're definitely more than just a different race. They're from heaven. They're technically extraterrestrial. They are not from this earth. So these Nephilim really kind of throw a wrench in just your Sunday school stories. I know the Bible talks about Goliath, but it also was talking about Goliath's brother. His brother was, again, enormous and had these 6 fingers, 6 toes. Do people still have that? I don't know if that's...
It's a genetic thing. There are still people that are born, like I said, you'll be born and they'll have that 6th finger. It still happens. I don't know if it's that's a good question, and I don't know if I've really thought about that till you just said that. If that's something that could be traced genetically, if that's something that you could go back and trace a lineage and see if you had some in some way, just go through the thing and see if you were somewhere more related to a certain thing that would tie you to that? I mean, that's a great question. Actually, that's be something to look into.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have that 6th extra finger for the grocery bag that you always can't grab.
Yes.
So you're like,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So you can be like Tom Brady, and you have to have that 6th finger to put that other ring on there because you're not going to have enough room. Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah. So that's one too. And what you brought up about Goliath, because in that as well, that's the thing a lot of people don't realize. He wasn't the only one. It wasn't like they just brought forth Goliath, this giant. I mean, it was said in there that he had family that was the same. They were all giants. And they just happened to be, he was the champion that was selected, to fight.
Yeah, and they seem to kind of have seen these kinds of people before, because nobody was in total shock when the Philistines brought him out. There wasn't, wow, where'd you find that guy?
They're just, they knew he was there. Lori just commented too. There's also, there are tribes in South America that have 12 fingers and toes.
Wow.
So that would be kind of one. I wonder if there is some connection between that, to where that's, that's a throwback. So then, Austin's holding the puppy down there. Let's see it. Teasing everybody with puppies. But Lori, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a fantastic point, because that's for one. I kind of one of the things about your book that I really like is it's something that it's really plausible that this could be happening right now.
Well,
yes.
A big chunk of the book was also. I took there is a real ancient angel worshiping religion that I took, some of the parts from that religion and used it for the book. So I don't want to disparage it, but maybe you guys have heard of it, the Yazidi religion. It's
I believe I have.
I don't want to disparage that religion. I want to be respectful, but they are an ancient religion, maybe one of the oldest, and they believe that they have this weird belief that Satan is God's alter ego, and they believe in the Satan part more than the God part. And God created everything in this giant pearl. And there's 7 spirits that came out of this pearl. And the greatest spirit, which is who they worship, is called Malak Taoist. Now, it has several different spellings, but Malak Taoist is also known as, he's also called Shaitan, or as we say, Satan. So they are a legitimate religion in a lot of, in the northern Kurds are particularly worship this kind of religion, and that's who they follow. And of course, I'm forgetting one major point. Satan to them is the peacock angel, hence the title Peacocks, Pedestals, and Prayers. So wow. I just thought I'd throw that in there, and
I'll scratch that off my question list. that was one of the ones I was like, I was going to get you to, like, how'd you come up with that? But you just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, yes, absolutely. You should apologize for coming up with your own title. No, that was fantastic. Because that was one of the questions. I was just curious, why you went from Halo of the Damned, and then what led you to that switch to that, and that actually makes complete sense, because you have, in that one, you have a religion that is more in line with the fallen angel, thing, than over in that where the peacocks. So that works Yeah, very nice, very nicely done. That's one of those things that it's like you really get people to do some research on that. And I was looking as you're talking about it too. There's an estimate currently of about 10,000 followers of that here in the U.S.
Wow.
as well, and that it shows Iraq, is over 500,000, Germany 200,000, Russia, go down there. You're right about the 30,000. So in the Russia, Georgia, Armenia, that area, I mean, you're talking 100,000 people right there too. And so, yeah, so there's quite a few. I mean, Canada has 1,200.
Jeez.
In the estimate. So, yeah, so I mean, there's quite a few people that actually have it. When you said you don't want to disparage, I mean, it's one of those things too. I think it's just one. It's not really so much disparaging as I think if you mock it, if you call people crazies for being, I think in that way is something. But when you're just bringing, it's kind of everybody doesn't want to touch Scientology. Everybody freaks out. They're like, no. That's a subject we got to be careful on. I think it's one thing if you go around, just the whole thing is about making sure you just trash anybody and everybody that's involved. I think, but when you actually talk about it, and you bring light to it, that's not. Like I said, I wouldn't accuse you. Like you were saying, I don't want to disparage. I'm like, no, you're just telling people this is what they believe. They believe in this is their belief, and I don't think that in any way. I mean, it's just like science. When you bring up these things, I think it's in how you discuss it. But I mean, I think because I believe this one's considered a pagan religion, but it's not. I don't know. I mean, it seems to be like it's got a pretty good following. So it seems, you can almost start calling this more of a mainstream religion by now, when you've got close to 1 million followers.
I was talking with this one guy in the military, and he was telling me that he met a lot of Yazidis, and he doesn't get it either. He doesn't know why anybody would worship Satan. It just doesn't seem normal. But he said that they were way cooler than almost everybody else there. They were like the nicest ones. So I don't know.
You gotta be cool if you want to get followers. You can't be like the boring Christian folk. Come on, we party, we do drugs, we do it all. So we're cool
I think
over here.
I've got a meme. I should share it on our page. It's kind of that same one because it's like, what if the translation was wrong? What if Satan was thrown out of heaven because he was trying to help us? And and that's it. So and I was just thinking, like, this Yazidis, what if that is the thing? It's not so much that they're looking at like us, the Lucifer, the dark, the evil. They're looking at it as Lucifer, the what he where he was in heaven, that he was actually more of that helper that was sent because he wanted to help humanity and God didn't. That's why he was cast out. And I'm wondering if they look at it from that angle as opposed to the other one, like the darker side, like this, like a worship of evil, where they're looking at more of Lucifer as in the light, as opposed to Satan.
Well, I think
curious.
I know one of you is a Freemason. I think it's you, Chris, right?
Yep.
Well, isn't Lucifer cool in morals and dogma? Isn't he like the cool guy in the Pike's morals and dogma? Don't they say, "Oh, Lucifer, son of the morning," or something like that? You're the greatest.
That must be on another level that I'm not on yet. I mean, I only have 14 degrees, so it may be higher up in around the 32nd. I can't contest that. I'm not sure if it was true. I'd be like, yeah, I've heard of that. But I mean, maybe that's in a higher degrees. Each degree has different secrets, and maybe that's one of them I haven't got yet. So I don't know. That's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be. Because some people say when they get to 32nd, they turn back because it's like it's that breaking point. So I don't know. I mean,
well, just a little piece of trivia. The Mount Hermon, where the Watchers were cast down on, is on the 33rd parallel. And I know 33 is a big one in Freemasonry. So I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, I'll reach back out to you when I get that high. And I'll be like, no, you're right.
Yeah, It's one. Isn't that crazy? Just how all this stuff seems to just be so interconnected. You could see where like the conspiracy things just run rampant, especially when you come up that you're like, look at this, this is tied to this and this. When you're there, and you have other people like, I've never seen that before, and you're like, it's right there. I mean, it's literally right there. It's at some point you're like, there's got to be some connection to this. How the ancient, they're all coming from this ancient period. I mean, because that's been the rumor. It's come from back in ancient Egypt, and so it would, there's. I mean, I know like Carolyn, she talked about the 144,000. I just watched a video on YouTube about the significance of 12, especially in the Bible, especially Revelation, that there's lots of things 12s. 144, the city that comes from the sky. That's 12. The 12 because it's 4 sides of 3 gates. And things are 12s, and it was all this things, and that's one of. And I've been in Chris. It's like, is 12 a significant number? Yeah, that's one
12
of those.
months, 12,
Yeah, 12 months.
12 hours.
Yeah, and so
Twice.
so it's just they're just everything was just the 12s and how important that was, and that's
12 disciples.
yeah. There you go. See,
12 jurors.
12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, very nice, Mark. Yes, and then Lori was just like 12 is very significant. Yeah, and that was one of those things that I kind of gleaned on. But I mean, this one, like I said, we're going to circle back to this. Yeah, just with your book, the way you laid it out, and that's where I was saying before we got on this part too, was just how the way you laid it out. It's really plausible. It's something that, this could be the rumored dark, families of power that are behind everything. That there's always, for anybody that really goes down the rabbit holes, there's the conspiracy that there's certain families that actually run, that are the power brokers. And the way this book's written is this could really be, these could be those families. These could be the fallen angels, that still the holdovers, that some of these, still are the ones that are from behind the scenes running things, because you don't ever have to make an appearance. You have everybody else doing all these other things for you, and that also, just when you say that having other people do things for you, that also plays into the story as well.
Well, when I was writing the book then and now, the one part that just kind of drove me crazy was the timeline. When did God have this war with Satan? Okay, some people think it was at the very beginning, before Adam and Eve. Hence, Satan was out and he was in the garden and he was trying to ruin things for God at the very beginning. But then the passage is in Revelation at the very end of the Bible. And then we've got this story in the Old Testament with Job, where God and Satan make a bet on which way Job's going to go. If they take away everything that God gave Job, is Job still going to worship God? So were they friends when they made that bet? Or was Satan cast out and they were talking to each other? So this whole timeline thing kind of drives me crazy, because I'm not really sure when Satan was on the outs. Okay. And what was it? Right. And nobody can seem to answer that. I've asked religious people. I've certainly spent enough time on Google about it. And I mean, if you think about it, it kind of changes everything, because if it didn't happen till after Jesus, died on the cross and then rose into heaven, then, well, wow, that's a whole, 1,000 pages or so, where the devil was still in heaven with God and there was no evil figure. I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the whole timeline thing, I just have a human brain. I'm hung up on timelines and dates and when did it happen, and if it happened then that wouldn't mean that, and on and on and on. So I thought I'd throw that out there.
Do you think that kind of stems from the council? When they determined what books were in, the Gnostic Gospels, that they had, something to this. Because one of the biggest questions, like for me, back to things like I would always call out, is in a way, it's kind of like that timeline thing is, here's Jesus of Nazareth. He is one of the most important figures in human history, according to the Bible. Yet nobody took the time to write stuff down as he was saying it. Some of these books were like 50, 60 years after he said it, and now they're actually coming out. So it's one of those, it's like, well, why? Why did it take so long to write? I mean, if I'm following around somebody that I believe is the Son of the Almighty, and he's telling me these things, I'm literally walking around recording everything he says. This would be something that you would, we know so little about this figure. Is one of those things. What did he normally eat? What was his favorite food? What did he like to do? What were his habits? None of these things are known. This is the Son of God. And you have, like you said, with these timelines, these are the things I always brought up. It's like, why is this missing information? Like Chris, I think, Chris, if I'm not mistaken, you were saying,
you would know what cup he drunk out of, a towel he washed with, you would know all of this. These would be like sacred items, but there's a void, there's a big gap in that,
And he had 12 people to do the job of writing things down.
Yeah, and like you said, and at no point I've used the example before in a show, like the whole tempting of Jesus. When you know that you win and you have all this, who's going to tempt you? I always joke around. It's like my son wanting to stay up longer, and he's like, Dad, if you'd let me stay up longer, I'll let you have this entire house. You have the run of this house. This house is yours. I'm like, it's my house. I go, what are you trying to, you got nothing here. And I always, that never worked for me. The temptation of, Jesus, because it's one of those, you have nothing to tempt him with.
And again, the temptation of Christ was with the devil. Well, was he the devil at that point, or was he an angel in heaven and he was God's friend?
Exactly. And so I don't know. That's a fantastic point, too, is just, it's like the timeline. It's like, where does was Revelation supposed to have been before, I said, like that, was something that was put in Revelation, was this supposed to have been more towards like the Genesis side? This should have been in the book. I don't know, because that's one of those things. These are the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like I said, we have hardly any these little fragments, but I've often wondered if some of these were pieced together in kind of a wrong order, like you said. But I don't know. It's definitely one of those eternal questions that we've always had, and I'd love it if we could solve it right here and now.
I doubt that.
Don't know.
People have been trying for hundreds of years. But is that where, I wonder, is that where that term came from? Don't bargain with the devil. Is it maybe that Jesus tried to bargain with the devil, and then he's just like, there's too much temptation here. I got to kick you out. I got to cast you out of heaven. That could be the thought, that he tempted Jesus so much. Jesus was like, all these things look good to me, but no, I'm Jesus. You got to go. We were friends, and now I can't hang with you no more. You got to go.
And then in Jesus's time, he cured Mary Magdalene of the demons that were inside of her. So again, how is he curing somebody from demons? Because the demons are under the devil's minions. So if the devil is not the devil at this point, then what are the demons? I guess my mind is just going in circles on this timeline. I wish somebody could say it was edited wrong when they did that Nicaea Council thing. It was just complete bad editing. It should have been in Genesis. Sorry, oops, we're bad. Let's move on. I wish somebody could come out and give a little bit more clarity. Or is it not happened yet? Because most of Revelation has not happened.
Wouldn't that be a mind blowing thing? The war hasn't even occurred yet.
Right.
But that's, Allison, yeah, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's one of those, yeah, I don't, it's a very, I think we must ponder upon this. Ponder of the beards. Yeah, it's, so kind of in that same way. It's just like, I'm just trying to go through my head real quick on, live here on air. About that is, I wonder too, is just, the story is, I joked about that meme, and I wonder, is there something to this, like the Yazidi, religion, where they're worshiping, maybe they're worshiping the one that hasn't fallen yet. It's because you have your timeline, and that's why the timeline issues. I mean, I almost feel like we're watching a Star Trek episode here, where they got the whole time travel paradox. You can't do these things. It's and I don't know, because it's a really curious part on that one for me is just the whole fallen angel. These one is, it's always been the one that stuck to me. It's like, if this is going to happen, what it's like, wouldn't you prepare for it?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's going to be an uprising. Wouldn't you already know how to stop it?
There's a modern day. I don't know if you guys happened a few months ago. I think it was maybe May. There was the cult leader. Love Has Won. Did you see that?
I don't believe I have.
No, if I haven't.
The cult was called Love Has Won, and apparently they have thousands of followers across the United States, and they were in Hawaii. They were in I think Oregon. Then they moved to Kauai, Hawaii, and they got thrown out of the state. And then they ended up in outside of Denver. And their leader, I think her name was Amy Carlson, maybe Amy something. She died. They don't know why she died. They suspect she had cancer, but she never went to the hospital. Or
Mother God.
Yes, and they mummified her so she could be alive forever.
Yeah, and that's out of, I think it's Crestone, Colorado.
They believed in angels. That was one of the many weirdo things that they were into. Angel worship, reptilians. They believed in reptilians, angels, all of it.
The Catholics have big parts of angels in their religion, but they don't worship them. They have Saint Michael and a couple other, from what I see.
And there's I brought up on here. That's that group.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's her, Amy, right there in the center. Yeah, that's, man.
Mummified.
God, it's one of those, I didn't, it's got, being a libertarian type thing, it's really hard for me to even ask this next question. Do you have to get a permitting process like that to mummify something now? I mean, because there's always those, with the rules of what you do, with a deceased, body. I mean, can you just, I guess you're under religious, at that point, but there's got to be something, like, you can't just start doing, just hearing this. It seems like there'd be some law against that, but even having said that, I hate that because I'm libertarian. It's like,
I don't think they got a permit because they were arrested for misuse of a corpse or something like that. Some kind of charge like that. I don't know. That doesn't sound very serious, but.
Oh no, the dead people have more rights than we have.
Oh,
No, I'm serious. Like, you wouldn't believe. Like, there's so many. I worked for the funeral home briefly, and that was a very fun career. But dead people have a lot of rights. Like,
And he's gone.
What was that?
See, well, that's what he gets. You see, but when you step out of line, Facebook smacks you down.
Bam.
You just, bam, gone. You know. Look
Facebook
at
fail.
seriously, Mark
He's a
Zuckerberg.
offender.
It had to be Chris. I mean, what you let all of us stay on the camera, but it just happened to be Chris that you knocked off of.
He said dead people
Just
have more
saying.
rights than us. That might be controversial, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying it was Chris that was taken off, not any of us. I'm just saying, what are you doing, Mark? When he comes back on, you know, hopefully. I know. I like it. Chris's last word is "dead people have more rights," and he gone.
That is like I'm on some kind of prepaid internet service or something. Timestamp it always cuts me out. I have no clue what happens, but yeah.
No, I was just saying, you know, just isn't it ironic that Mark Zuckerberg knocks off the black guy out of the podcast? Everybody else is fine. Nothing happens. It just happens to be Chris that gets taken off the show. I'm just saying, what the hell, Facebook?
It happens every week, but no, look up, like, if you're just curious, just look up some of them charges against the dead, and it's like, wow, you can get that many charges for messing with some dead people?
That's sad.
Yeah, that's
What is going on?
man. Are you got some ghosts going on there? I mean, it's entire chaos on that Chris side there.
I think so. Like, I don't really know.
Wow. Welcome to the show, Dina. How are you? This is fantastic. Well, he sorts together his end there, but yeah, everybody. I mean, really, it's just, you know, we've talked a lot of the subjects we've kind of delved in a little bit here too. Is, you know, these are talked about a lot in the book. You know, Peacocks, Pedestals, and Prayers, and I mean, one of the things too is, you know, you kind of hinted on it a little bit too about, you know, in some parts of the books too, and I've kind of been that way. There's a long time, a lot of people may not recognize the name, you know, Bernays. You know,
the Bernays sauce from steak.
Yeah. He's a long time, you know, with the whole, just the power of, you know, it's almost like it's a propaganda, just how you can basically just trick people into just it becoming, you know, he was one of the part of it, because bacon and eggs, that never used to be a staple in U.S. But now everybody thinks the American breakfast, you got to have bacon and eggs, toast. That was propaganda. That was a whole ad campaign, you know, for the egg industry and stuff, to get this to where everybody was just consuming chicken eggs. And this, you know, the orange juice, you know, just there's all these things that people you get. And that was one of the things, like in your book, it's just like, what was the inspiration to, you know, incorporate that part, you know, with the brain, you know, advertising being used in kind of a brainwashing type endeavor?
Well, I truly think that advertising, propaganda, all of that is, you know, devil's work, really. It's propaganda. It's, you know, to make somebody feel like they have to buy something is definitely not a form of I think a lot of devil's work is involved in advertising. I mean, obviously they use sex for everything to sell. They've got that one famous commercial on right now where it's the devil in 2020. Do you guys?
Oh yeah.
They're portraying the devil like this lovable guy that I don't know. Somebody in your chat room or on Facebook mentioned NBC, the Peacock, the Peacock Network. I kind of, you know, I don't know if they find that offensive or not, but they chose the Peacock. So, you know, what does that say about them? My book has a lot to do with advertising. My fallen angel owns an advertising firm, and some of the advertising tricks are mentioned. One of my favorite ones is product placement. Your hero of the stories eating Reese's Pieces like an ET, or the really gorgeous actress is drinking Coca-Cola. I mean, that's not by happenstance. That's by paid ads, and we're all misled in thinking that that's what these people are really, what products they're really using in real life. So I touch a lot on that. And scenting is becoming a big way of advertising, like Starbucks, Cinnabon, Hollister, the clothes store. So
and while we were talking about that, I was just looking at NBC. The reason they picked the Peacock was NBC's owner at the time, RCA, manufactured color television sets. And so because of the bright colors, that was used as a marketing tool to also encourage people to buy color television sets.
Or maybe they were Yazidis, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kidding on that one. I don't know.
But that's really sad, though, that how we let cars and people influence the world just that much. I mean,
well, you guys were talking earlier about Apple and all of that, with some of their technology things that they're doing. If I say to my husband, "Oh, I'd really like to see that movie that a commercial just played," and I'm on the computer, and I go, "Oh, I'd really like to see that movie," and I'm not Googling it. I'm watching television and I'm seeing a commercial. The next thing I know, I'm on my Facebook page,
and it's on your Facebook.
And there's the movie that I just said to my husband. That's on my Facebook page now. And I'm thinking, well, what the heck is that?
Yep.
They're listening.
Everybody's listening, because we've talked about that how many times. It's just like there'll be stuff that you haven't even looked up before. You haven't searched on your phone. You have it all. You're talking about it, and you'll look in there, and all of a sudden ads, whether from Google, Facebook, all this stuff will start popping up, and you're like, how is this even possible? And then you're like, well, they got to be listening. Well, we don't listen in. Then you got to help me out here. There's only one way that this could happen, because I haven't looked it up.
Yeah,
That's
it's
creepy.
too much of a coincidence that everything that you say somehow ends up on your Facebook feed or your Twitter or whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But what would be even weirder is they're not listening. They're in your brain. Like somehow these 5G towers or something has tapped into your brain, and before you even think it shows up on your news feed. Like, I want to go see this movie, and I'm thinking about it, and it shows up on your feed.
That has happened, Chris. That has actually happened to me, and I think, oh, I'm really losing it now. That can't be so, but maybe you're onto something. That has happened.
Wow, that's crazy.
Everybody run that experiment tonight. Think about something that you've never searched up before. Just think about it. Just come back later and see if it starts manifesting in some way. Videos, something, because that'll be a good test, because that's one of those things that's crazy when that happens. It's just because it does, even though we talk about it, it's still kind of freaky when you just all of a sudden you pop up and you're like, I'll use an example. My wife was looking, she's thinking about doing bookkeeping, possibly. So I happened to just search up real quick, one of these things. It's everywhere. I mean, it was like instant, just like, and you're like, I literally just typed this in, and now I'm looking at Facebook, and I've got ads from every university out there for bookkeeping. I mean, it was almost instantaneous how fast that algorithm kicks in.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it's all over. It's like everything's connected: Facebook, Google, YouTube. I mean, it's just boom. I mean, I'm getting on my YouTube ads. YouTube ads are popping in for bookkeeping. I mean, it is crazy fast how that algorithm just kicks in.
Well, doesn't Google own YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's almost an instantaneous switch. Like, ooh. So I mean, you could just do something. I mean, you can just pick something completely random, and just start looking. Like you know, I'm not sure if you've done. I mean, you could start looking up like auto parts, and you're going to just get nothing but auto stuff. Will just like, it just comes out of nowhere. It's crazy how fast it works.
Well, at one time I was just it was somebody on Facebook. I don't even think it was an ad. Somebody just posted a picture of a beautiful car, and I liked the picture. Okay, that was it. All of a sudden, I'm
Car
getting
sales.
ads for the same exact car. Like, what the heck? I just liked the picture.
That's like, we got one.
You know, it's
No,
funny
I couldn't afford that one, but
I was just telling Craig because I go back and forth deleting Facebook, and I just brought it back on my phone because I'm always sharing, small businesses and whatnot, and our show, obviously. And I re-downloaded Facebook on the app, and off of the App Store, it was only 1 million downloads for the Facebook app. It had 2 stars. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Right below it was Instagram, 5 stars, 21 million downloads. And I was like, that can't be right. Out of the entire world, there's only 1 million downloads of the app. So I don't know. But like when you just said that you like the photo, I feel like they're going towards that. It's easier. You like that? Okay. Algorithm fixes towards that now.
Yep.
Makes sense.
And that's kind of one of those things too, is, you kind of touch on a lot of these things in your book, just the connections that a lot of these things have, that where it's almost beyond like, well, we're just trying to make your life easier. Now it's starting to look more along the control side. Like, this is when we're going to dictate how you do, like the algorithm of Facebook. And a lot of people don't realize this, that you don't see all of your friends. And most people don't realize this. A lot of us, have people we just randomly friended. But I mean, I think I've got 1,300 or so, friends on Facebook. I don't see 1,300 people's individual posts.
Right.
They just select the ones that Facebook determines that I might be interested in and gives me. And then that's all I see. And it's ones like you interact, like Austin said, the ones you interact with the most, do stuff like this. But at the same point is, if I friended Dina and I friended Austin, I want to see stuff from them. Let me decide what's interesting. If I keep, but they, but as it does, and then one of those things, that's when so what I'm trying to say is, everybody, you need to share the show. Click like. Quit just scrolling, just click like. That's what I'm trying to say out of this whole thing.
absolutely.
Go send her a friend request, become her friend, personal friend today. I can't guarantee she'll say yes to everybody, because that'd be weird. Get you in the spammy thing. All of a sudden just get hundreds of friends requests. Like, yeah, I know, it's as we're like, oh, look at the time. Oh man, look at the time. Man, we're getting close. So before we do that, you've got your site, conspiracycrackpot.com. Go there, and I'm going to bring that up on the screen here because I've got that handy here. And so everybody, this is your site. You go there, and boom, there it is. So now, do you keep this up to date, the blog and everything on this one?
I try.
Okay.
I do try. I'm pretty good about it. I do.
When you're not busy doing the hundreds of other things that require your time during the week.
My day job, I'm a teacher, so.
Yeah, it's impressive that you've found the time to write the books and maintain that. So there's everybody, conspiracycrackpot.com. You can go there. You can also find her on Facebook. I had it right here, and then I accidentally closed out that tab. But it's you've got your author page.
Yes.
Yes, and that's so everybody can go there. And what's the? I think it's Dina Rae author, isn't it?
Dina Rae Books.
Dina Rae Books, I think. Yeah. Let me see if I can get that one up.
I'm also on Goodreads, and I made a quiz to go with the book, and it was just published like less than 24 hours ago. So the picture isn't in the book yet.
Let's see, I'm trying to find here. Let's see. Yeah, books by Dina Rae. There it is. I knew I'd find it. I knew it. I had faith in myself. I'm glad everybody else did. There we go. So there, everybody can go like that. You know.
Wow, that doesn't look like that. No.
Is this not yours?
Yeah, that's an old one. I think it's here. Let me find it. Sorry.
Find it here. No. This is my fault for not having this one right handed you because
Dina Rae. It's Dina Rae Books. No space.
No space. All right. So we're gonna quit sharing that other old page.
Sorry.
Terrible.
I should clean up my Facebook.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him some trouble when we get off because he sent me that link.
I know I had it. We'll find. I'll find it here. So it's as we're doing this. So yeah, that's everybody go to Amazon right now. Peacocks, Pedestals, and Prayers. You can get that.
It's. I hope everybody enjoys it. I wrote it to be entertaining, but it also has a lot of truth in Bible lore and vampirism and advertising and angel cults and religion in general. There's there's a lot of specifics about exorcisms as well. So it is meant to be a fun book to read, but it's laden with lots of research.
Oh yeah, no, it's really well done. It reads really fast too. I mean, that's the thing. It's one of those I really liked it, and it's. Well, I recommend everybody check it out. And like I said, it was one of those. I'm just terrible about this. I want to spoil it because there's so many things like I said. But even just the opening story is fantastic. The way that goes in because it's one of the it's basically movie-esque type thing. It's like you're watching a scene right from a movie as it plays out, and then it goes on from there. But that's what definitely. Everybody check that out. Please support her for coming on there. And if they said why you're there too, you can also check out other books that we have. Crowns, got the bestseller and see do the right here. Yeah, Crowns and Cabals. There.
Craig, you got to get the other one, the sequel.
See, yep. And that's what I said. And I've got I think I have that one on Kindle.
Halfway through it.
And so it'll be a little weird for me to show that to you because it's on my phone and this is my phone. So I can't show that to you. Really appreciate you coming back on. That's what I was really looking forward to having you back, touching base and seeing how everything's been.
I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys are a great talk show hosts, and I'm also a fan. I listen to your show frequently, and you have some really interesting guests for sure, and I'm honored to be among that circle. And again, thanks so much.
Now, how can other people end up with that?
Exactly.
They're not special. They can't have it.
Well, there's some doing about it because I have some books of myself. If somebody wants an autographed copy, please shoot me an email. My email is pretty much my public email is blcsdina@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you one with the autograph.
Now, do you have any book plates?
Book plates. I have book markers and book cards.
Because one of those things that we got too, and it's one I've kind of mentioned to some people, especially in the things, there are pre-cut like stickers, and then you just autograph those.
Oh.
And then you can mail those out, and then somebody like myself that wanted this to be there, well, then all I have to do is on the inside of the cover here is stick it.
I didn't know. I didn't know about that. Thank you so much. I will definitely get some of those. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because then it makes it super easy to where, you know, when you're done grading papers or something for the night, if you've got a few, you can personalize them right there, you know, to Austin, thanks for, right here, boom, put it in an envelope, you mail it off, so a lot of people, they'll do it, free. There's some people, $1.99, it's like, I'll send you out a book plate, some of those things, but, because a lot of people are more than happy to pay for postage and everything to have it. Cause it's just, comes out of your pocket to send it. So,
well, thank you. I will definitely get some of those. That's a great idea.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm always glad to help. Makes me feel good. So once again, thanks for going. Appreciate you taking the time away from the family. I know I said you've been busy, and I said especially school is getting ready to start for you guys, I'm sure.
I had a big day today. My youngest daughter graduated college, and she really graduated in May, but the ceremony was today. So
I saw your husband's picture. He looked a lot happier in that one than the Christmas photo. So I was like, oh, he's actually smiling in that one. In the Christmas photo with the dogs, he did not look like he wanted to be involved in that photo op. So that's good. Well, congratulations. Tell her congratulations on graduation. That's huge.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, you guys, and having your daughter successfully graduating quality. That's fantastic. So, all right, well, everybody, appreciate it. So, have a great night, and we will definitely be in touch because as these things are coming out. So, when you get some free time, sequel.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, well, see you later.
Bye, guys.
All right, everybody. This is brought to you by Nanny Cakes. Facebook Nanny Cakes 407, or give her a phone call at 407-923-2898. And did I not get that right?
No, my computer's freezing, so I'm trying.
Oh, okay, we're good.
I was like, man, picture up,
I'm looking for anybody that can't see this listening. I'm over here as I'm saying it. Austin's just shaking his head back and forth.
I was trying to throw some
technology. All right, everybody. Redbubble.com's Three Beards Podcast is our shop. Go there. That's one of the ways you can support us. We also have patreon.com/Three Beards Podcast. Become a beardo, adopt a beard. Look at these homely beards that are wayward, that could use beard oil, and we can only get that with your support. So then everybody, go to the Patriot Radio, courtesy of the Xeno Radio app. Download that app. The J&J Beard Company puts us on their station, Patriot Radio. So thank them for doing that at jjbeardco.com. But everyone, go to Amazon, support Dina Rae, purchase those books. Thanks everybody for watching. Like, subscribe on social media for us. We really appreciate everybody that has already. If you don't, find a friend, bring a friend, get them to subscribe as well. But everybody, thanks for watching. We'll be back on the next one. Good night.